Hey guys, it's Leo here, and I have been gone for a while, but I have explanations I can explain. Had to put my phone out of the way because I'm trying to test out something and hoping that it works. So if this is normal quality, great. If not, I apologise. For some reason my laptop is not taking my phone videos. So yeah, but I've been gone for over a year. So I'm back. I'm doing something called Iceberg videos now. If you don't know what an iceberg video is, it is, the top layer is fine, and then as you go down, it gets more and more disturbing because what you can't see under the iceberg. I will show you a picture of the iceberg I'm doing. This is disturbing movies. So how this is going to go is, today you'll have the first layer on its own, first layer. Next videos will be 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5, and then 6 and 7, and then I'll move on to another iceberg. Don't know if I'll keep it on my true crime channel, but this is a channel for true crime, dark, mysterious, spooky things. So, let's get to the intro. Seven was released in 1995, an American crime thriller featuring Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, and Gwyneth Paltrow. The movie follows a 1 week away from retirement detective trope. Not my favourite trope. Usually it's very predictable, you know what's coming next. He and his new partner, who just moved to the crime-ridden city with his wife, are investigating a stream of murders, all following the theme of the 7 deadly sins, but they don't realise that until the second murderer, and it's Morgan Freeman's character that calls it out. The victim of gluttony was made to eat until his stomach burst. Lust is a sex worker who was found with a bladed strap on next to her body. I've seen all the movies on this like tier. Yeah. Greed was a man who was made to cut a pound of his own flesh, which was also a saw trap. Pride is a victim who the killer had previously disfigured, and so since she was a model, she couldn't live without her beauty, so she took her own life. When the killer is caught, played by Kevin Spacey, also known as John Doe in the movie, he pleads insanity, and it seems like he's going to escape punishment at this point in the movie, unless he takes the detectives to an undisclosed location, where he'll reveal the final 2 victims. So during this drive, John Doe says he believes God chose him to kill these people based on the sins. You know, he's the messenger, he's telling people they sinned. Once they get there, a van pulls up and gives Brad Pitt's character, Detective Mills, a box. It is implied that his wife Tracy's head is in the box. There's still so many arguments over this, and I don't understand why. It's quite clearly his wife's head. Like, it's quite clearly her head. But then John Doe reveals that he is envy, because he envied Mills's life with his wife Tracy. So Mills kills the killer and thus sends the killer's plans, because he planned for Mills to kill him all along. Also, Morgan Freeman's character ends up retiring and actually gets to retire, so I guess it kind of beats that 1 week away from retirement trope where they always die before the end, but yeah. But critics did enjoy this film, despite despite what I think of it. Many called it intelligent. Like I said, I couldn't get into it. Crime thrillers aren't really my thing. And like I said, I remember the debate to the box, over the daft box, like it's his wife's head in the box. You know, like, people were like, oh, remember his wife was pregnant and blah blah blah, my mate's his unborn child. No, it's definitely his wife's head. It is Gwyneth Paltrow's head in that box. I even actually recently spoke about this with some of my college friends, and we all agreed it's the head in the box. But like I said, it was liked. Some critics didn't enjoy it though, because they felt like the movie took itself too seriously, which is also how I feel about it. Don't hate me, I'm sorry. This movie was written by Andrew Kevin Walker and directed by David Fincher, and it was produced by Arnold Coppelson Productions. Midsummer, released in 2019, is a movie I couldn't enjoy for a few reasons. So please do not hate me for my opinions, but one opinion is that I'm a pagan, that is my beliefs, and if you don't believe in that, that's fine, no hate. Don't hate me for my opinion. But I am so sick of seeing this whole thing that if someone is pagan, they worship the occult, they are evil, whatever. So, you know, I felt like it was just, I don't like being thought as evil, you know, and I'm just so sick of seeing that trope in horror movies. But anyway, rant over. The other reason was also how they dealt with mental illnesses like bipolar disorder. But like I said, that's all I'm going to say, just my opinion. I'm so sorry if you don't agree. Well, no, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you think I'm an arsehole, but you know. The film's plot does revolve around a couple who are kind of struggling in their relationship. I say kind of, they are very much struggling. So you've got Danny, the main character, and Christian. And Christian plans on breaking up with Danny until Danny's sister, who was suffering from bipolar disorder, killed their mother and then herself. And like Christian was planning on going to the Midsummer Festival in rural Sweden, and since Danny is traumatized by, you know, everything she went through with her sister and her mum, he decides he can't break up with her right now because she is traumatized and, you know, she needs someone with her, whatnot. I don't. But yeah, he takes her with him to kind of help her maybe fix things, I suppose. I don't know. This festival only takes place once every 90 years though. So, you know, only chance to get to do it. Once they arrive, they meet another couple from England and they take some mushrooms of the magic variety. Danny has a really bad trip and, you know, that scene is what it is. The next day they witness two of the sect leaders, because, you know, this is a cult, jumping off a cliff to their deaths. Sorry, they're elders, not leaders, but yeah. Although one of them doesn't die right away and the cult gather round and starts mimicking his cries and pain, and then they bash his head in with a mallet. And at this point, witnessing this, Danny wants to leave, which is sensible. Yes, sensible. Characters in horror movies are always sought after. I would like sensible characters in horror movies more, please. The one smart person in a horror movie is what I wrote in the script. The movie gets darker as more people are picked off one by one and killed in brutal ways. I mean, one victim is given like the blood eagle treatment, and if you don't know what the blood eagle is, it is a torture method where there's lots of different ways I've seen it told. My history teacher always told me it was from the ribs down and they open you up. Like, it is, as I've heard people say, they cut you from the back where your ribs are and open you up that way. I don't know. There's lots of ways I've heard it was done, but someone is, you know, blood eagled. At the end of the movie, 9 sacrifices must be made, and this is, you know, what they're told. And Christian is picked as one of them. I mean, I didn't like Christian in the movie. I thought he was an ass, but Danny is obviously not having it. She does not want this. Tries to stop it, but like, I don't know, Danny is obviously upset during this whole entire thing. Obviously she doesn't want Christian to die. But she eventually kind of seems to enjoy it, and at the end of the movie she's like, smiling. I don't know why I done that. Like I said, this is the only time I get to not be serious on this channel, because everything I do is serious. But when I'm talking about creepy things and movies and whatever, I can be a little less serious and I enjoy it. But like I said, despite what I think, the movie was very well received and critics enjoyed it. People like that this isn't a horror movie that needs to be dark and gloomy, like lighting wise and setting wise. Like, it's very white and bright, which, you know, I think gives the audience a false sense of security. Like all the yellow in the Jaws beach scene. Oh my god, I'm going back to like National 5 English here. But yeah, some people didn't enjoy it for the same reasons I've stated. And I do think it's fair criticism when it's all you really see, and it's blamed in a lot of true crime cases that I've got a lot of true crime cases and documentaries that I've been looking at, and each time they blame something like, oh, they were pagan, oh, they worshipped the occult, whatever, you know. But I'm hoping people can at least see the reasons why I don't like it. But it was written and directed by Ari Aster. It was written and directed by Ari Aster, who also made Hereditary, which is a very, very terrifying movie that I will never, ever watch again. Like, if you want to talk about traumatizing movies, Hereditary is probably at the top of that list for anyone I've spoken to about that movie. No. Like, fuck that scene from It Follows, you know, when the demon thing's behind, like that bit. Piece of cake. Hereditary is not a piece of cake. I think Ari Aster has a thing about just making these movies, and I have to applaud her for it. It was also produced by a number of companies that I, too many to list.
Megan is Missing is a 2011 movie that comes under the found footage genre, and it's about a girl called Megan Stewart who goes missing after talking to what she thinks is a 17-year-old boy from her school called Josh online, and she gets these details from a girl at a party. Turns out Josh is not a 17-year-old, he is a grown man. You know, one of those stories. So the film then follows her best friend Amy Herman, who documents the events of their friendship and all this leading up to Megan's disappearance. It gives some background on Megan and her relationship with her mother, why her stepfather's in jail. It's quite emotional. Then Amy goes under a bridge at some point in the movie to discuss things that she found out in her investigation, and then she's kidnapped under this bridge. So the film in the last 22 minutes gets very, very dark. This is the point of the movie where I was shocked. I figured pretty early on, like, okay, Josh is not a 17-year-old boy, I pretty quickly, like, this story is not going the way it's supposed to, you know what I mean, like, it's not the way it's going in Megan's head. So this is where you meet Josh, officially the man who was posing as a 17-year-old boy. So he kidnaps Amy. He treats her like an animal after imprisoning her. He also brutally rapes her and then reveals Megan's corpse to her, which is like in this plastic barrel. And then the movie just ends by with Josh burying Amy alive. It's quite disturbing. So I found out about this movie, and I'm sure many others who are watching this, who have seen the movie, found out about this through TikTok in 2020 over COVID and lockdown. We had nothing to do. The world was going to shit, so may as well watch something extremely. And I was only getting into like horrors and slashers at this rate. I hated all horror movies, and then I started getting into them over lockdown, and now I'm here. It boomed in popularity, and this was after 2011 when there was a limited release. So in 2020 it boomed. It got banned in a few countries, in New Zealand and things. Michael Goy, who wrote and directed the film, said this film was inspired by events similar to this, where adults do groom children and then end up committing these crimes such as rape and murder. And it was made as like a kind of warning, a very extreme warning, but a warning. It was a very low budget production with a budget of $35,000, and the actors in the film were quite young at the time. I think they matched the ages of Megan and Amy. It was to make the movie more realistic, I'm guessing. So Goy had the actors as parents on set all the time, so they could be fully aware of the involvement and what their scenes would have in them. And it was also produced by the company Trio Pictures. Saw was released in 2004, and this is my favourite franchise in gory film categories, next to Hostel, but Saw is up there. So this first movie is the first of the long-running series, with its latest movie being released this year, which I have not seen yet. But this follows two victims in the jigsaw trap. It follows a photographer called Adam and a doctor called Dr. Gordon. These two are stuck in a bathroom together, and they are told that they must kill one. Someone needs to kill someone, or they both die. There's also a dead body in the bathroom with them at all times. It also follows what would be known later on in the Saw franchise as the cop storyline, with Detective Tapp and his partner finding other victims of the jigsaw killer, and it shows you like what these victims went through, and they're trying to piece together who the killer is. Detective Tapp eventually does find out who the killer is. His name is John Kramer. He is an engineer who's done a lot of building and things. You know, you find out later on who John Kramer is, but the film's twist ending is that the photographer who was hired by Tapp to follow Gordon, because Tapp figured Gordon was the killer, but obviously he's not. So the plot twist is that Adam, the photographer, when he woke up in the bath at the start, you see a key going down into the drain hole. That was Adam's key to escape. And along with that dead body actually being the Jigsaw killer, John Kramer, played by Tobin Bell, who was fantastic. So the Jigsaw killer managed to fake being a dead body by being injected with a toxin by his apprentice. So this toxin imitates your heart stopping and being dead. I don't know how it works, I just know that's what they said. And this was the start of the franchise that would later on boom and become such a big thing. And also ending with the very famous game over door slam. That scene always gets me.
To be alive. But not you. Not anymore. Game over.
This film was written by James Wan and Lee Wanell, who actually plays Adam the photographer in the movie. Wan directed the movie and would later go on to creating other popular movies like Insidious, The Conjuring, and even Aquaman. The film was written by the two. I think they had just left university at that point, and they were kind of trying to come up with ideas on what they wanted to do for short films. They were both watching the Blair Witch Project and wanted to do something similar. So they wanted to make a movie about two actors stuck in an elevator. But with the movie only showing security cam footage, and then the idea grew from that. They then made a short film and came forward to someone in the production company that would later produce it and become a big production company. And the guy said, yeah, this short film is amazing, like, let's do it, let's make a whole movie. And then that film was produced by what we know as Twisted Pictures today. Told you, love that movie. This Chainsaw Massacre was released in 1974, and it follows a young woman, Sally, and her brother Franklin, who are investigating the vandalism of their grandfather's grave. His grave has been vandalised, or the graves in the surrounding area have been said to be vandalised with, like, decapitated body parts. So they go out to the countryside with their friends, and along the way they decide to pick up a hitchhiker who tries to charge them for a photograph. But when they say, no, we don't want to pay you for a photograph, we didn't ask you to take it, he attacks them, and then they kick him off their van, and he paints this bloody symbol on the side of the van, and then eventually they end up running out of gas. So they go to a gas station, and the gas station says, no, we don't have any gas for you guys. And then that night, two of her friends decide they're going to go for a nighttime swim, and then go missing because they find an abandoned house and they want to investigate it. So Sally and Franklin decide to find them, and this is where we see the famous horror movie icon Leatherface, who was inspired by Ed Gein and things. In the movie, you know, like Leatherface then introduces members of his family. Sally eventually escapes at the end of the movie, and it leads to this weird scene with Leatherface spinning around with the chainsaw. I know it's the most iconic movie scene, but I think it was a strange addition to the scene, to the entire movie. It makes me laugh. So this film, like I said, was inspired by the Ed Gein case. Ed Gein was he's classed as a serial killer, but I would more place him as a grave robber. I would more place Ed Gein as a grave robber over a serial killer. He did kill some people. Yeah, I think he killed 3 people, so that classes him as a serial killer, but other than that, he robbed graves. And with the body parts of the people he killed and the graves he robbed, he would make things out of their skin, like masks, a belt made of nipples. I will cover that case eventually. It's a very lengthy case to cover. And it was also inspired by a man called Elmer Wayne Henley, who was a cannibal as well. He was I don't know what year. I've never looked into this case. The first time I've heard it was looking into the making of Texas Chainsaw Massacre for this video. But yeah, he was a gay man who killed and cannibalised men. The movie also had a very low budget of around $140,000, which today would be $800,000. And I'm saying low budget because these things are considered low budget. Like high budget films are what you see, like Barbie movie, like where it's been millions to billions of dollars given into it. But the movie also featured actors who were unknown at the time, which is what the director wanted. He wanted people who were not known to the big screen at the time to make the movie scarier, I think, or to make it look a bit more realistic. I couldn't find a justification. He just made unknown actors known. The movie had a mixed response from critics though, with some critics calling it absolutely despicable and others praising it for the actor's performance being so realistic and terrifying that people were convinced this was a real thing. But it then set a new standard for slasher films, and in 1999 it was listed as one of the 50 most controversial movies of all time. And this was written by Kim Henkel and Tobe Hooper, and then directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Vortex Incorporated. I don't know if they're still a thing. Yeah, that is it for the top layer of the iceberg. Like I said, I'm really sorry for criticising movies, especially if you like them, but some of them I didn't like. Yeah, some of them I just couldn't get into. Like Midsummer, I was really looking forward to it. But once it got into paganism and bipolar disorder things, I found myself kind of checking out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not one of my favourite slashers. I don't even enjoy the sequels and the remakes. I just felt like it started getting worse as it went on. I appreciate the first movie for what it done to slashers and the whole genre, and I appreciate Leatherface as a character in the sense that it created a whole new thing for people like me who want to make horror movies. Like that way to achieve that, you want to be up there. But it's it's quite an old movie. You can see there's things that we wouldn't do nowadays or choose to do nowadays, or there's better effects that we have, and yeah. Seven is just not my kind of movie. I do like crime movies and crime TV shows. I just could not get into Seven. I think it's that I am a week away from retirement kind of trope that I don't gel well with, because they always die before retirement, case in point. But Saw and Megan is Missing, fantastic movies that I really, really enjoyed, despite how disturbing and traumatising Megan is Missing can be. But yeah, I've been gone for so long because I'm back at college studying filmmaking. So I am 25 and doing college again after dropping out of this course at 18, but I'm back at it. I'm stuck in at it. I'm doing my assessments and think I'm doing well this time. So I'm really just trying to get through college and do my short films. I have a short film channel now. I'll link it below. I'm trying to get set up to do gaming and other videos and cooking videos and things on other channels. It's just that I don't have the time in between that, and if you notice my setup's different, I have moved into my own place with my fiance, so that's also taken a lot of time to get us settled, and I figured since now we have a spare room where we decided this is going to be an office space where we can film, where I can film and do college work, and just a quiet space away from the living room and whatnot. But yeah, so now that I'm set up and need to get my green screen set up for other videos so I can have the posters in the back and whatever, but just now it's the painting I done for us. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and being patient and waiting around, and if you're new, consider giving me a like and a subscribe, because I'll try and post as much as I can. But yeah, thank you so much guys, and I'll see you next video.